You're listening to Christian Nation FM on 106.5 FM.
Dear listeners, please be aware that the views and opinions expressed on this radio program are those of the host or guest and do not reflect the views of Christian Nation FM. Dear listeners, please be aware that the views and opinions expressed on this radio program are those of the host or guest and do not reflect the views of Christian Nation FM. Dear listeners, please be aware that the views
You
and
are
opinions
about
expressed
to
on this
listen
radio
to the
program are
Chambers,
those
a
of the
good
host or
governance
guest
program
and do not
on
reflect the
Christian
views of
Nation
Christian
Radio.
Nation FM.
Stay tuned.
Dear listeners, please be aware that the views
You
and
are
opinions
about
expressed
to
on this
listen
radio
to the
program
Chambers,
are those
a good
Yes,
governance
it's always
program on
exciting to
Christian
be
Nation
back
Radio.
on the
Stay tuned.
Chambers, right here on Christian Nation FM, and we are happy that you're able to join us wherever you are via our Facebook page, Christian Nation FM 106.5. Right here on you're also joining us via Radio Garden as well as Zeno FM. This morning, we are privileged to feature a well-vested man in politics and the governance of this country in the names of Mr. Wynter Kabimba. He served as Minister of Justice under President Mike and Chief Justice of this government, and was also Secretary General of the Patriotic Front. He served, and so he is really a well-vested man in the issues to do with the governance of this country. And we do hope we are going to have a fruitful conversation with Mr. Kabimba. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Mr. Kabimba. Welcome to Christian Nation FM and particularly on the Chambers.
Thank you very much, my dear listeners.
It is my honor. We hope you are ready to conversate with us. Welcome matters to do with the governance of this nation and the development of the country.
Thank you very much. Never am we.
Right. Well, we are excited to host you, and indeed, we are looking forward to that exciting conversation.
Thank you very much.
My name is Maybe Augustine Katungu as your presenter, and I'm also indeed not alone. I'm also backed by a technical bench in the names of Frank Augustine Chakanga and Chief Chan as your presenter. Having said that, Mr. Kabimba is coming from, is the president of Economic Front, and so is the president of that particular political party, which is Economic Front. Well, how is the party doing? You are in the opposition. How are you faring under the European administration? Well, how is the party doing? You are in the opposition. How are you faring under the European administration? Well, how is the party doing? You are in the opposition.
The politics of this country have been more in the opposition than have been in the ruling party. So, the opposition environment is actually what is appealing to me more than being in the ruling party from experience. So we are fine. So we know the game and over the experience for many years, over 20 years, maybe close to 30 years. So we are fine in the politics of Zambia. We know the game is okay. The experience for many
Why
years,
do you
over
seem
20
to
years,
enjoy being
close to
in the
30 years.
opposition?
So we are fine
Being
in the politics of Zambia.
Being there to govern.
No. I'm just saying.
It's more appealing.
No, I'm just saying.
Why do you
I'm
seem
just saying if you look at the record of my participation in the politics, I'm just saying I've been in the opposition longer than the 2-3 years that I was in the ruling party. Okay? I've been in the opposition longer. And therefore, the opposition environment is 2-3 years more appealing to me and more homely, to put it that way. Because of the number of years that I've spent.
Right.
Yeah, not that I want to remain in the opposition in perpetuity. Homely, to put it that way.
Right.
Because of the number of years that I've spent.
We have heard
that I want to
your
remain in
fellow
the
opposition
in perpetuity.
members complaining about the harsh environment very under the
That I want to
your
remain.
fellow opposition. How is the environment for you as economic front?
Is this the first time that you're hearing about that? We heard that under FTJ.
How is the environment?
We heard about that under Levi Mwanawasa. We heard about that under Michael Sata. We heard about that under ECL. So it's not strange, you know, we heard about that under Levi Mwanawasa. Some citizens heard about that under Michael Sata. We heard about that under ECL political environment. So it's not strange, you know, we heard about that in our country. Some citizens the politics that we want to play in the economic front are politics of civility in our country. Some citizens, okay? The politics that when you are playing or taking part in politics of civility, a game of soccer, okay? The politics that and you have lost. When you are playing or taking part, one of the things you have to do as a good player is to accept the loss. There's no need for you to continue blaming the referee. There's no need for you to continue blaming your colleagues who should have scored the penalty but you missed it. There's no need for you to continue. You prepare for the next team. There's no need for you to continue the next your colleague game would have scored the penalty. Secondly, we don't believe in the economic front that name colleagues is what politics means. The next your colleague game would have scored. I disagreed with you. We don't believe in the economic front. HH when you call opposition is what politics means. I disagreed with him. That name calling is not the best way of doing politics. I disagreed. I still disagree today. Those that think that the culture of name calling, I disagree with is what politics should be. That insulting another person is what politics should be. And that's what it means to be the opposition. The culture of so we play a different is what politics should be. Type of politics. Another person is what politics should be. We try to create a landscape which is civil. So we play a different and still make a point and still make our existence fair.
The European administration did
and still make a point
on
and still make our
good
existence fair.
Family using the rule of law. And so, in your own ways, how do you feel or how do you see them, ruling family in terms of the rule or upholding the rule? And so, in your own because there are also situations, how do you feel or other spheres who are complaining about family? Being harassed, especially fellow opposition, we've seen seditious law being eminently used, especially for those with dissenting views. What is your take on it? Well, you don't need to disagree, but I would like you to just to comment on this matter.
How can I comment if I'm not going to disagree with you? I can only comment if I'm disagreeing with you. So, maybe this is a country. We are not in kindergarten. This is a country. And this country doesn't belong to you and me. Okay? It doesn't belong to HH. It doesn't belong to the small group of people in the opposition. This country belongs to the 20 million Zambians. Okay? And therefore, those of us that are doing politics have a duty to ensure that the 20 million Zambians live in an environment of peace and harmony. We owe them that duty. The voiceless. The people that don't even speak English. The people that have not even gone to school. They have entrusted their lives in our hands. And if they have done so, Bwana, we must be responsible leaders. Okay? We must be responsible leaders. We must say the truth. We must make statements that are true. We must make statements whose facts are verifiable to be true in order to maintain the peace in this country. Okay? So if you make a statement which ultimately has a potential to bring disorder to this country, to bring disharmony in this country between two ethnic groups, between people, between a certain class of people, surely you must be called to account to either justify that statement or tell the truth about that statement. And if you don't, if you are unable to, then you are an irresponsible leader. That's not being in the opposition, in my view. Okay? Go back and read books about what has caused the problems all over the world, even in Europe. Go and read. Go and read, the history of Yugoslavia under Milosevic, who finally died in The Hague in prison. Go and read the problems in the Balkan states after the collapse of Yugoslavia over language and other things. Read the history of Rwanda, what happened in 1994. By people using radio stations like yours. And a Hutu would go on a radio program and call the Tutsis cockroaches, inyenzi, in their local language. And people were laughing about it. That's what it meant, to be the other side. And that's what we are tolerating in this country. That somebody can just wake up one morning and call others names, call the president names, call other citizens names, and you call that being in the opposition. No. We have a duty to protect the sovereignty of this country, the peace and order of this country, and that duty is on the shoulders of all of us.
But don't you think that if you seek for public office,
yes,
you must not be allergic to criticism?
Yes.
You must have a thick skin.
No. That's a mistake you make, or that people make. I don't think I'm addressing you. Look, we are not talking about HH here. If you listen to me carefully, I'm talking about the Zambian people. This country is not for HH.
And
okay?
I would want you, Mr. Kabimba, also to strike a balance. Do remember that we are in a democratic country.
Yes.
And people have constitutional rights.
Yes.
To express themselves.
Yes.
So how do we strike a balance?
But expressing yourself, there is a difference between the right to speak. Okay? All of us have the right to speak. Because speaking is not provided for in the Constitution. We learn it when we grow up. So that right is for all of us. But the right to express yourself is guaranteed in the Constitution. And you know why it is guaranteed? You must make sure that what you say is true. Okay? You must make sure that what you say is true. You must make sure that what you say, you can justify it. You must make sure that what you say, you can prove it. Okay? So, the issue of democracy, or the understanding that democracy means you can express yourself anyhow, anywhere, and in any way, is not true. You know that there was a time in the United States when you couldn't utter a communist slogan. US, in the 50s and 60s. You couldn't utter a communist slogan. You'd be arrested. There was a time in the US when you couldn't carry a communist pamphlet. If they found it on you, you'd be arrested. Isn't that the country we admire today as being democratic? Okay? So this warped view, so to call it, that you can say anything, even when you are saying, can bring disorder to the country, and that's what is called democracy, and that's what is called the rule of law, and that's what is called freedom of expression, I totally disagree. I'm a responsible citizen myself. I have a family in this country, nucleus and extended. I have friends in this country. I don't want to see live as refugees because of the responsibility of one or two people. No.
So if you had to make things very clear, are you happy in the manner this administration, the new Dawn administration, is upholding the rule of law?
I don't have to be happy.
Especially in the manner they're using this particular law called seditious.
First, you have to understand what sedition is. What is sedition? Sedition is to make a statement which is likely to bring about disorder among the population of Zambia. That's what sedition is. Okay? That's what sedition is. So if you claim that somebody has given me $20 million so that I can kill all the Zambians in Northern Province, for example, or in Western Province. Okay? And the people in these provinces say, Ngatwamu mwana Wynter kuno akamuna. After all, we know he has received money to come and kill us. And then I stand up and say, no, but don't you know that that's the freedom of expression? Don't you know the clause in the Constitution that says that I'm free to say anything? Are you sure that is what it means? No, sir. No. So I don't have to be happy. You're asking me the question, am I happy? No, there's a lot of things that I'm not happy about.
No, I'm talking about specifically on this issue. Specifically on the issue, on the matter, on how.
No, my position is very clear. Those that make statements that are seditious, they must be arrested and they must go and explain to court and justify the veracity and the truth of those statements. I owe that duty to the Zambian people.
So
if you want my answer, yes, I'm happy. Next question.
Right. You are happy and you are saying people have to go to the courts.
Yes.
To explain themselves and
yes.
justify.
Yes. But, including myself.
But we hear the opposition
yes.
have been crying loud that they cannot trust the judicial system under this particular administration.
So where else do you go?
They're saying this judicial system is compromised.
They said that under Lungu, whom they miss today. They said it. They said the same thing. They said that under Chiruba. So where will you get a judiciary that will come from heaven? Where? They said that under every administration. They said that under Kaunda. If you were there. They were said that under Kaunda. They have said that, not this opposition, but different opposition groups. They have said that about it. So they are saying that about Trump today in America. Trump said it about Biden and his judiciary. Trump has called, the Supreme Court in the US names when they rule against him. That's the nature of politics. So if you don't trust the judiciary, then where do you want to go? Kunganga. Where do you want to go? So go and settle disputes.
So for you, you don't have any issues with the judiciary?
I have issues. Listen. I'm a lawyer of more than 35 years of practice. I have my own issues with the judiciary. I have my own issues.
If you have
delayed judgments, some judgments that I don't agree with, some levels, where I think that things could be done better. I have issues with the judiciary. I have. I'm not talking about a perfect judiciary. I'm not talking about the perfection here. I'm talking about the sense of responsibility of those of us that say that we are in the opposition and look forward to take over power. That's what I'm saying. Those of us that are selling ourselves to the Zambian people, that if today you made me president, I can do it better. That's what we are saying. Now, if you can do it better, let's see some decency in you. Let's see some truthfulness in what you say. That's what it means to do it better. That's my position.
Mr. President, I'm happy you have reminded me that you are a lawyer, and I missed out in my introduction when I was introducing you. Let's come to the issue of amendments of laws. We've seen that somehow the UPND, they really have the desire to amend the Constitution, and we saw the Bill 7 coming in, and there was an outcry that there was no wider consultation. Recently, we saw the lands bill also coming, but also people cried foul. As a lawyer and also a leader of the opposition, do you think Zambia is in a constitutional crisis such that we really need some laws to be amended before the 2026 general elections?
You don't need a crisis in order to amend laws. You don't need a crisis. But if you want my position and the position of EF, which were made very clear, I didn't agree with the amendment to the Constitution. We didn't agree with Bill 7. I made it very clear.
What were you misgiving?
That it didn't come out clearly to tell us what the mischief was. Secondly, there was a misapprehension between what proportional representation is and what the quota system is. There's a difference. There's a difference between the quota system, where you want to have so many number of women, so many number of youths, and so many number of the disabled, etc., etc. That system is different from the PR system. Okay? Bill 7 seemed to have a misapprehension of the two systems. Okay? So there was still work, to be done. Secondly, there was no process, an inclusive process for citizens. The Constitution is for who? It's not for one person. It's not for the ruling party. It's for the citizens of Zambia. And therefore, they must be consulted. We didn't think, and I'm sure everybody agrees, that there was no consultation. What the government was doing, it was sending ministers and other officials out to the districts to go and lecture to people. Nobody has powers, has the right to lecture to me about the Constitution. I must tell government what I want the Constitution to look like, not the other way around. So we opposed the Bill 7. We opposed the Bill 13. Because if you want to give powers to the Chief Registrar of Land alone, Muntumozi, you are legislating corruption. There's no mechanism to check that fellow. So what you're actually doing is legislating corruption, making corruption intrinsic in the whole process. Is that your intention? Is that what would make Zambia better? Is that what will make the land administration better? No.
Yeah, but when we go back to the Bill 7, don't you think that there were progressive clauses? Was it the issue of the process, or what about the content itself? Don't you think this Bill 7, when you look at the content, it was very progressive?
What content? Tell me what was progressive about it. I've given you what was not progressive. Tell me what was progressive about it.
Don't you? How the content itself? If I ask you about the content,
look, man.
Bill 7.
Look.
There were issues of delimitation. That the country is growing. We have a population of over 20 million people now, and so on this matter, issue of delimitation, what is your concern?
Maybe maybe let us as Zambians be more rational and less emotional, and let's use the right concepts at the right time. So the issues of this is progressive, this is what, let's not throw them around. Okay? Now, let's put it this way. You are talking about delimitation.
Right.
Okay?
There were issues of, certain constituencies.
Yes. I listened to that argument.
They were too vast.
Let me just explain this to you. I listened to this argument. The argument was this: to justify the limitation of constituencies. That when you have these constituencies subdivided, therefore, you are increasing the amount of CDF. So instead of 36 point something million now, it means you have 72 million in one constituency, ideally, or in theory. Okay? The question is this: Are you subdividing to increase your CDF, or is the limitation based on the demography, the population in those constituencies, or is it based on the geographical boundaries? Is it based on the geographical boundaries of the constituency? There's nothing that Bill 7 was explaining in all those areas. The issue that you heard about is, CDF manje is apaka. Now, I'll give you an example. If you are subdividing constituency A, which has, say, 70,000 people, okay? You want to divide it how? 75,000, 35,000 this side and 35,000 this side, okay? How are you going to ensure that the half of the people, 35,000, live in one area and the another half lives in one area? How are you going to do that? Because you will find that if you want to subdivide that constituency geographically, you may have 40,000 people on one side and 30,000 people or 35,000 people on the other side. Now you are saying that it is equitable to give 36 million people to 40,000 and give 36 million people to 35,000. What nonsense is that? Even just in the arithmetic. Okay? What rubbish is that? There are constituencies, maybe where you can travel for long distances and you won't find a human being. But it's large in terms of in terms of geographical area. But you won't find a human being. So you're subdividing it what? To give a portion to animals on one side and then human beings another? Is that what you are doing? So what is this thing of thinking in a cocoon? Thinking, as Martin Luther King says, is painful for some people. So don't just come to me throwing around the terms, CDF, delimitation, I'm too experienced for that. I was town clerk. I was an electoral officer, district electoral officer. So I have experience over these matters.
So you're fairly saying that argument of vast consequences, was it not enough?
I'm proving it to you that it doesn't hold water. The justification is wrong.
Right, let's move. Okay? Let's move on, unless maybe you still want to say something.
No, you are the bossy. Just.
Well, right. If you're just joining us, thank you very much for joining us wherever you could be watching us from via our Facebook page. We are live on Christian Nation FM 106.5 and also on Radio Garden as well as Zeno FM. It is that time when we give you a chance to interact with our guest in our studio. This morning, we are hosting Honorable Wynter Kabimba. He is the president of the Economic Front Party. And so you can call us now. The number is 077 60811 077 7760811. That's the number that you can call us on if you want to come through. You can also call us on 0960 24 8915. Let's see if, as we are waiting for the people to interact with us, let's move on to another issue, the elephant in the room. The issue of, it's now over 2 months since President Edgar Chagwa died, and there's been a battle between the family and the government in terms of how he must be buried. What has been your take on this matter, and what do you think about what's just been happening, this animosity between the two parties, the family and the government?
Look, I've been extremely reluctant to discuss this matter. ECA was my friend. We were classmates at UNZA. We worked together. I'm sad that is normal. I'm about the same age as him, 11 months older than him. So, it's been a sad moment for me. But I also tell you that what I don't want to do, which is out of my character, is to discuss something I don't understand, something I don't have facts on. I don't do that. I've not spoken to the family. And as a lawyer, for me, everything that is reported on social media is hearsay. I don't take it as truth. Okay? So, if I were in the middle of this thing, I would be qualified to make a comment. But I can't make a comment over something whose facts I don't understand very well. I don't understand very well why the family has taken the position it has taken. I don't understand very well why the government has taken the position that it has taken. I don't understand some of the things that have been said as having been said by ECL before he died, what his wishes were, because there is nothing in writing. I think the man should be granted a state funeral. But I'm not sure whether that in itself can override the wishes of the family, even if ECO didn't say it. So there are a lot of ifs in this matter. So I'm sure we can discuss something better than the demise of ECL.
Hello?
We have a caller on the line.
Okay.
Let's see if we can pick our caller. Good morning. Hello.
Yes, good morning. This is Mwamba Evans calling you from Six Market from Epin. Good morning, Mr. President Wynter Kabimba.
Good morning, Mwamba.
Awe, toyamba, timuyamikirani wa President, wamene muyankira ma question yamene bafunsa wa Epin. But niko tena mafunzo kaine namba ko program leti pangono izofuna ufunza uli mu alliance ono muli pamweka ono question yenango yamene nifunza nyako bati judicial system imabopezeka ti vamene vamasonta kambiri ni vadya vangena mu government. So in case twamusankani next year uzakavalegerera vakankala independent vakambe kuzisankira veka olo naimwe muzakata continuous na amene tailo amene iliko so chapi. I think in the question yanga Skomo.
Thank you very much, Mwamba Evans from City Market. Good to know that City Market is listening. Let's see if you can pick more calls. 077 7760811. That's a number that you can use. 077 7760811. Let's see if we can pick more calls, and then we allow our guests to respond. So the other number that you can use, if you want to use MTN, you can use 0960 248915. 0960 248915, and you will come through to the program. Maybe you can respond to Mwamba Evans. You heard what he was saying.
I can't remember the first question, but the second question is talking about the judiciary.
Yes.
Look, I was Minister of Justice for 2 years. And you can ask anybody in the judiciary who was serving that time, if I ever spoke to anybody or I ever spoke to them. You can ask anybody in the judiciary who was there at that time during Michael Sata's era, where any judge ever received a phone call from Michael Sata. Never. We left the judiciary to be as independent as possible. After the election in 2011, when PF won, we filed, I think, something like 50 election petitions.
Let me just hold your thoughts there. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Mijelo calling you from Livingston.
You are calling from Livingston. Good to know, Mr. Mijelo, and I'm sure you're watching us via our Facebook page. Go ahead, your question, your concerns.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I have two issues to address. Good morning, Honorable Wynter M.
Good morning, Mijelo.
Yeah. I'm an ardent follower of yours, and today you have made me get a bit confused because I know that you are a man who is very consistent in your language.
Yes.
But apparently today I think I've been lost on two. Number one is on the issue of the delimitation.
Yes.
Where I find it not consistent where you say the argument that delimitation should be looking at the constituencies that have got big numbers, we try to divide them. We say it's not logical because we are not sure whether we are going to have an equal number of citizens in these two constituencies that we are going to divide. Then I'm looking at the already existing constituencies where we are having numbers that do not carry with other constituencies.
Yes.
But still we've been displacing CPF, even without considering those numbers. How do it be a problem that we divide the constituency? Let's say, for instance, maybe it's in Ghana, it has got 65,000 people.
Yes.
We divide it, and then it has got 30 to one side, 35 the other side. And yet these other constituencies that are already existing, they vary in numbers. How would it be a problem if we did so, and then these constituencies which we've just divided gets to have different numbers? I find it like it becomes inconsistent for us to base our argument to say the limitation on such a point cannot stand because we have different numbers.
Okay.
Coming to the second issue is the ECL issue. I think I followed you twice when you were deliberating on this issue. But for you today to distance to say you wouldn't discuss it, and yet on the two previous issues, two previous platforms, you were able to articulate and give very good insight. Then how today you would withdraw? I'm failing to ask, and I know you are somebody who is consistent with what you discussed, and I'm surprised today. But may I hear your side why you decided to do so?
Okay.
Mr. Mijelo, thank you very much from Livingston.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, Mr. Mijelo, they are watching us via Facebook page.
I think let me answer Mijelo quickly. I think he's raising a good point. Okay. Let me repeat what I have said on delimitation. What I said on delimitation is this: that the government was not explaining itself on the justification for the process of delimitation, whether it is going to be in terms of geographical boundaries or demography, or meaning population. Okay? So, I'm talking, Mijelo, about the issue of clarity of the intended objective. Okay? And I'm saying there are constituencies that you could subdivide purely on account of geography or geographical boundaries of that constituency. There are other constituencies that you would subdivide purely on account of population density. The point I'm making is this, that for me, when the government comes to me and say we want to subdivide these constituencies, I think it should go further and just tell me which constituencies fall under which one of these two methodologies that I'm explaining. That's what that I'm saying. Okay? There was no information. There was lack of information on even the number of constituencies or the identification of which constituencies would be subject to delimitation. That's the point I'm making. Okay? On the issue of ECL, I'm reluctant today to discuss it. I discussed it during my Sunday interview extensively. The debate at that stage, if I remember, was that there was to be a state funeral. And the point I was making was that ECL was former head of state, is entitled, to a state funeral in his honor and dignity. Since that time, Mijelo, there have been other events that have arisen, more headwinds regarding this matter, that it is now in court. At the time when I made that statement during the Sunday interview, or when I canvassed this matter, all these things that have arisen now had not arisen. So I was dealing with a specific issue of ECL is dead. His body is in South Africa. It is coming to Zambia. The government has given him a state funeral. There is a resistance from the family. So there were those issues which were very narrowed, if you want to say. Today, we're talking about broader issues. Some of them which I don't even understand myself. I don't understand, for example, why HH should not attend ECL's funeral. I don't understand. I don't understand whether that is ECL's wish or it is the wish of the family. That's the point I'm making. So I'm very consistent, Mana. I listen to myself when I'm talking. I listen to myself very carefully when I'm talking. The point I've made today is that at the point where this matter is, I don't think I can say more than what I've said already. At the point where this matter is, there have been issues that have arisen over which I do not have facts. Well, that's the point I'm making.
Right. Let me see if I can pick that caller. I know people. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
Welcome to the chambers.
Yeah, you are speaking to Mr. Laban Charwe, calling you from Rusaka, PHI.
Laban Charwe, go ahead from PHI.
Well, Wynter M shuke nkwa.
Bachalo munishani.
Aho tulije bwino.
Natote.
Awe, mulelondera bwino sana bosi ba Wynter. Nali bikonka bwino sana nga mwaisa paledio. Ema check some balances aene tulanda mulalanda bwino government nga iri longu. Mulalanda no government apa iri longa. Ni opposition wali longu, no opposition wali longu. Then na pali respect mwachilanda. If why kwa fyokula perishanya fe respecting and government abaleteka mwapero mtinshi na imanga mwesa mkuteka paragesa mpero mtinshi nota tuwale mwana pa media especially pa social medias Then therefore comment ko pali wa ICO the point mulandire na mulanda febuno Mr. Wynter Kabimba balabali ni former our Republican president. So I am my issue kuma court kuya kwa vile ndio amkuseva na kuma South Africa yale tumuonesha mpe kwa mu Zambia tatoa wa nani kani kwa tatoa kwa amano. So ba family bali ngire ba ikara fefe ne ba stay kana na ba government balanchanya because state mupange state fine then ba president no bavika ponishimo bavika pesa ba president then no kwata ko respect kuli ba president ni ba president ewa teka barate tumwe mukulalanda be media yo ba president tawafulo kusangwa ko ero kuchalo kwa bene na kweno ko mulelandire ba market bizu ni ba loya bafule ba isho ba state advise wa family ni ba loya ba yo kompirira papene mukwa ina totera
alanda bwino mwana chalo.
Yeah, maybe just to ask you a further question from what Mr. Charo is saying there.
Yes.
Some people have argued to say it won't reduce it to be a state funeral if the head of state would delegate. And people are saying a state is not limited to President Hakainde Hichilema. He can delegate, and we've seen so many occasions where he has delegated before.
But that is at his discretion.
Well, why
you can't force him to delegate.
Why don't you think that in this matter, why can't he just delegate so that we move on as a country?
No, you know, maybe. Again, let me say this, this is a country.
Will it take away anything from him?
Of course it will. Of course it will. He's head of state, mind you. He's head of state, mind you. Nobody voted for Wanarumango. Okay?
But he's part of the government. Part of the state.
No.
He is part of the state.
He is. There is only one head of state, Bwana. Not two, not five. There's only one head of state. Constitutionally sworn in. Don't forget that. What we are doing is we are playing around in this country. There's only one head of state, and for now it is HH. I may not like him, but he is. I may like him, but he is. Okay? And that's what discipline entails. That is what discipline entails. Okay? So you can't dictate to the head of state and say, no, but give way. Give way to what?
It is called humility.
What humility? To abdicate your responsibility is humility. To abdicate your responsibility in a public office is called humility. What dictionary is that?
Don't you think that leadership also should come with humility?
What about those who are dictating it to him? Why can't they exercise leadership? It must go to both ways. Those that are dictating to HH must also show leadership by allowing him to attend the funeral. Why should it go just one way? Tell me. Why should it be? It's not leadership for HH, but it's leadership for others. What is good for the goose is good for the gander too. The English proverb says. So what we are doing here, maybe seriously, is playing. And he's playing with the position of position of head of state.
Hello?
Right, we have a call. Good afternoon. Is it good morning? Your name?
Mushe mwakabwanji.
Tauka bwino mwakabwanji. Mutumira
Bwanji wa Wynter Kabimba.
Nili bwino mwana uli bwanji.
Hello? Bwanji wa Wynter Kabimba.
Na nili bwino uli bwanji.
Bwino. Ina niko na makwestions ya
tuyamba tuze niko ni
just question.
Mazina yanu.
Verani kuli malamulo kuno.
Wapereka ku evacuation ku South Africa. Bali government na family ni wandani wamene wenzofika kupeleka wacha bantu.
Okay, manje tuze.
Number 2 question. Ni wandani wamene wanapeleka wacha bantu ku South Africa. Between government na family. Get first question. Number 3 question. the room mwamene mamains balanira ma foreigners mwamene balanira mamains ndi mwamene Africa kulanira oro mazambian the benefit bwanja mene tishitamo mamains yacha ndi ma questions amene mfuna nifunza
zina yanu
mfuna kuchita benefit mazambians oro ma foreigners.
Okay, zina yanu
Number 3 question pama ambulance ushe the ambulance za Africa oro si za Africa. Ndiyo questions yanga nene linayo yandize kwapo.
Ndimo bandani
Albert Kwachazanga.
Kwachazanga. Albert baoneka beze bakalipa maningi yakutsibeza funa kumbera. But thank you very much Albert all the way from Chazanga, and I'm sure my guest has heard.
Hello Makapani.
Bwino muri bwanji?
Bwino president wa Makapani.
Oh, yeah, someone is greeting you on a...
Hello, mana. Good morning.
Good morning. Mkamba na Richard
Kumakeni.
Okay. Yes, Richard.
Nilise na question moja.
Funsan.
What would be going to happen if the ruling in South Africa goes in favor of the family? Kuna wa president zantara bwanji because wanakumba kujara manda na South Africa kunimani. Then ruling that in favor of the family ku South Africa.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you can start with the last call.
That's a very good question that he has asked. You know, if I were in government, and ECO is buried in South Africa, I would just put a car plaque there. It would be like a museum. Here is a place where the 6th president should have been buried. Chap. And people will be visiting the place. What is the problem? It actually becomes a museum relic. I don't think people should even panic. I wouldn't panic myself if the court in South Africa says the man should be buried in South Africa. I would not even bury that grave. It becomes part of the history of this country. And for me, who is a historian, I respect that. All that I do is go to Unitato, go and do a plaque or a headstone and put, here is the place where the 6th president of the Republic of Zambia should have been interred. And put the plaque there. So when the tourists come, we take them to Michael Sata's, museum. We take them, to Arabi. We take them to Kaunda. And we say, you are to South Africa. What's it? What is the problem?
So there's no big issue here.
There's no big issue. But it doesn't come here.
But it appears this is a very delicate matter. It's an emotive issue.
How?
Because we're seeing how it's being battled out. You do remember at some point when there was a national mourning, and then all of a sudden the president appeared and he cancelled that national mourning, and the family were ready to bury in South Africa, and government from nowhere they emerged and put up an injunction to that burial. And that's why we're saying it appears it's very important for government to bury Edgar Chagwa in this country.
Look, I'm not representing government here.
No, but you're just having a conversation.
I'm not representing government here. I am expressing my personal views. One, as somebody who knew ECL, worked with him, and now is no more. Okay? There is a tussle here between government and the family. I want to repeat myself. I don't know the complete facts about this tussle. Okay? Going by the groundswell of events from 5th of June when the man died to today. Okay? So when somebody asks me, Kodi bameni wanampeleka ku South Africa ni bandani, like one of the callers, I don't want to get into those moral issues. I don't want to get into those moral issues.
I think the caller is just saying that Edgar Lungu went to South Africa as a private citizen.
Yes.
That's what he's trying to remind.
The funerals that you have attended in your family, have you visited all those people in hospital?
I think this is the way we are bringing.
No, I'm asking you a question. Because they're saying, South Africa. There is no time when Edgar stops being a former head of state. Whether he has gone to South Africa on a bicycle, let me finish. Or he has gone to South Africa on a minibus. ECL is a former head of state. You can't take that away from him. I hear the PF now arguing, and saying, this money, we are involved ourselves because he is our member. No, when you die, termination of membership in the party expires. So ECL is not a member of PF now, where he's lying still. He's not a member of PF. Okay? So let's separate these issues. So you can't argue that because the man went as a private citizen, in fact, not even as a private citizen, but, taken not under the care or auspices of government, therefore he can't be entitled to a state funeral. That is not logical. The man is former head of state. I've never been president myself, and ECL, the history of this country will not be written without him, whether we agreed with the way he governed the country or not. The man is and was the 6th president of this country. Let's be fair and let's be real to issues.
We have a caller. Good morning.
Bring him.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon.
President yuko
ndife wino mwana onshani
ishina nimwe bana ni muleti mina kwisa
ishina nebo kawimbe ndetu mina kati house
bakawimbe. Go ahead sir.
Mr. President ndamikonga sana kwa Muranda mwevo wa opposition vamo kutipete mu Zambia abaye mina pakulande chinka
natotela
don't have my opposition
you see, I've got support.
So imoma mina pakulanda pechinga. So isto eno murebo mbako kanye pakulanda pechinga.
Natotela mwana.
Ukuchira ukura blema. If you refuse to blame.
Okay.
Just have to appreciate
Thank you, Mana.
Okay.
Total. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Kawimbe, thank you very much. But maybe quickly you can respond to there was a caller who was asking about if you're happy on how the mines are being run in this country.
I'm not happy. If there is a sector that has contributed to unemployment in this country, it's the mining sector. If there is a sector which has contributed to high levels of unemployment amongst the youth, it's the mining sector. Why? Because they want to maximize on the profit. Because they are capitalists in blood and breath. What are they doing now? They are bringing excavators and other pieces of equipment which are doing the job of 100 and 150 people.
Mr. Kabimba,
how can I be happy with that?
We have the only woman coming on air. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Very well. Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Rebecca Banda.
Rebecca, thank you very much for being the first female caller. Go ahead.
Nizofuna kwamba kuvyamia kamba wa president ya Kabimba kuti nanga ndana atanaenda eka kuja ndiwai vantu ngati aenda kuchipatala wonse muna vakonka singa vakonke, but that one is a president and the former president, so endofunika kuonesa ije yenze tate wamuno mu Zambia wetenzo funga kuonesa ija kumukonga nje chikondi so don't osati wakambia makuti ati I want to muma wakonga ise as my leader sifunga kuonesa example so sakamba makuti ati everyone munga mukonke mbeta nene ndo funa kuti mkambeka leader so leader singa tuonesa.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Rebecca. You wanted to respond.
Rebecca, simame nakambira sinakamba kuti sembe banakonka ba government or sembe banakonke. Kandi ameni kamba nukamba kuti olo balungu ngati banaenda beka. Still ni ba president baziko ino olo banali ba president baziko ino. Olo balungu ngati banaenda beka. Mwambo wameti nao na kuli ma president bena ngo bene batisi aba ni mukamba kuti balungu bene yankana na state funeral whether abo bene bana bana bapeleke banali kubakonda or so banali kubakonda Edgar is entitled to a state funeral. That's the point I'm making, my sister.
All right, on the issue of the mining, you were almost saying something on
I was saying that the mining sector has contributed to the high levels of unemployment we see in the youth today. Let me tell you this. When we were at the university ourselves in the 80s, when you were doing mining engineering, when you are in mining, studying mining engineering, you are studying geology, you were automatically an employee of ZCCM. During the holidays, some of us were struggling to find a place where to go and do vocational employment. The fellows that were studying mining engineering and geology went straight, to the copper belt, and they were taken on as vocational employees. Today, I don't know where the graduates we are producing in the School of Mines are getting employment from. Because we have allowed these mining companies to bring in expatriates, foreigners, to come and take up the jobs that should be given to Zambians. So how can I be happy about that? I'm a Zambian. My fellow Zambian has no job. I must be happy. The answer is no. You bring in an excavator which is doing the job for 150 Zambians or youths. I must be happy about that. The answer is no. But let me tell you the other side. If we want to create employment in this country, in the mining sector, what the government needs to promote is small scale mining. Okay? I made a statement in 2020, somewhere there, when they closed down Mopani. And ECO made a statement that we were going to run Mopani. I told them, why don't you learn from history? Why don't you learn from history that it is difficult for us to run the mines? Let's be real. Okay? Julius Caesar says, above all, unto yourself be true. If you are not going to be true to yourself, you won't be true to anybody. We can't run the mines, large scale mines. Firstly, you need, high level, colossal amounts of capital to run large scale mining. And that capital, you can only raise it on the international capital market. Nobody will give you that money. Okay? So, for us in the economic front, our position is that leave large-scale mining to these capitalists. The only thing you do is tax them.
But you give them tax holiday?
That's the problem. Okay? Tax them. Let them keep the mines. Let them, raise the capital. But tax them. What has happened over the years is that even taxing them, we are failing. Our own people are getting involved in corruption. paying them colossal amounts of money in VAT reimbursements, VAT refunds. Zambian criminals. So if you want the mining industry to create employment, promote small scale mining. And you know the reason why? It is too labor intensive. So maybe Katunguru gets a piece of land, 30 square, kilometers, you bring all your blues from the village, you still need that, you need more. So even go to my village and get some more. So you create employment. That's what is going to create employment. Large scale mining will not create employment for this country. Never.
So we have seen that Adzan mining is
Hello.
Oh, right.
Hello.
We have a caller. Hello.
Hello, mwambeni kwai.
Mkwai, nimwebana nimwetumina kwisa?
Anapita kweso yesu.
Vanapita la ndeni mwiba kulekereshako?
Mkwai, nachwema chilandati bafuma president, bali bafuma president ba Mzambia, so afike bakonka ifundi. Ingero balelo ala. Nisi bakongere funda kwa bali bafuma president ba Mzambia, tubatwale ku medical. Bale fuwa kwa ku medical bale baleshia. So fine bale baleshia. Na malongo la bale kapela bakainde. Na bafumako. Abene ba family, batofu bale kwaya. Bakikira kwa kunoko bale kwaya. Tota bale batemo. Pokwa kani kwa ku medical. Tabale batemwa. Ngabacha watu bale batemwa bale bapenda tibafuma president wa Mzambia. Ku medical ngabale finya sentele kwa kaindo kwa batata bale ku medical. Namba bale baleshia. Bale bakanina. So kwa pocha kwanga tababa batemino balo. So fina shaba temino. Na bale kafe abeni basika kulia. Yo boda vingi wale fa ukutamba. Sia kutamba abakutamba bengi wabo bale fa kumaini kutwaya tamba boda vingi. Chapwiramo. Babale kwashike kukula kuine. Tabale batemo afuma president. Fo bale batemo afuma Zambia. Nachimyo kwa kamali washike kukula kuine ku South Africa. Batu amala lunga ntabuno. Chaka wamela ndakalo kutameni yoshabo. Bata bipendi wakafa sangwe kobeka. Na pia kula wakafa sangwe. So echo twanifanya kike kukula kuine. Kuchoko chakwa chantu ambeke sefiramo. Bani balungu firamo. Balungu tebale batemwa belanga chitemu ko ndabafwawe tachawa manto ipa nesatatemwa mutoto wale temo kampani ne kumule kitumbi au tachawa mamwandi na tota mombe bwi
Bana Peter, thank you very much. Honorable Wynter Kabimba, we need to end here, and so I'll allow you to respond to our caller.
Which caller?
The
last one.
The previous caller.
I've buried people I didn't like myself. Yes, I've buried some of my relatives. I didn't like them. But I've buried.
Is that not hypocrisy?
No, why?
Why are you going to love someone?
Who says that if I bury you, then I love you?
When they are dead.
But maybe who says that just because I'm attending your funeral, therefore I love you?
But why are you going to attend a funeral for someone you don't love?
Why not? It's my choice. It's my choice. But I've buried my relatives who were fighting me. I've buried them. Okay? That's my philanthropy.
You're calling yourself, as a country, you are a Christian nation. Where are the values of Christianity here?
Where? Here, where?
Well, it seems in the political circles, you're not showing love to each other.
Look.
And you're calling.
Look,
I want you to ride on this philosopher saying that Zambia is a Christian nation. And you've been always, there is this slogan also of one Zambia, one nation. Let's end it from there.
Let me tell you, sir. Even without the emblem of Zambia being a Christian nation, I can still show love. Okay? I can still show love to another human being. I don't have to be a Christian to show love. And there's no evidence that only Christians love people. There are many Christians, but many non-Christians that are more empathetic than Christians. Okay? I've said it that it is not true that all people that go to church and call themselves Christians, they are good people. There's no evidence like that. And it is not true that those that don't go to church are bad people. There's no evidence like that. Okay? So, let's be careful the way we become judgmental about matters.
Perhaps the key issue here, the key
Is
word
what?
is love.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've answered you. That you don't bury people because you love them. I've answered you.
But why are you going to bury them?
Because they must be buried. That's what the law says.
After all the conversation that we had with you, we've been talking for more than 1 hour.
Yes.
With all what we have discussed on the program, what would be your bottom line message?
My bottom line message is this. Me, I'm a strong believer in discipline. Me, I believe that discipline brings about order in the family, in the church, in the school, in the country. I went to a boarding school myself, and the guiding rules there were discipline.
No going out of bounds.
Out of bounds. For the 5 years that I was at Kafir Secondary School, I think I was only punished once. So I'm a very disciplined fellow. And I demand discipline from others. And I will not support anybody who is indisciplined, whether you are my friend maybe, or you are my relative. And I will fall in love with somebody who is disciplined, whether he is my tribesman, tribeswoman, or not. Okay? What I see here, and I miss UNIP for that, is that this country is degenerating into a lot of indiscipline under the guise of democracy, rule of law, freedom of expression, and I have fears about that. I want to live in a country which is orderly. I want to live in a country where people exercise mutual respect for one another. I want to live in a country where authority is respected. I want to live in a country where there is love for one another. That's a country I want to live in. And in the economic front, those are our principles. We are a very orderly political party. If we find that a member of the economic front has insulted you, maybe we shall expel them from the party. And everybody knows that. Tatwangala ifibangala, in other political parties. No. We're a serious group of men and women. And that's why we think that we should be entrusted with the running of this country next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Wynter Kabimba. You really remind me way back when we had some very exciting and fruitful conversation on some other radio stations.
It shows you that I've not changed.
Well, you seem to be the same.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that you really took time.
Thank you for inviting me
to come to Christian Nation FM. We hope this is not your first time and you'll be right here to discuss matters to do with the governance of this country.
Thank you, Mabin, and thank you, Christian Nation Radio.
Dear listener, that will do for today's edition of The Chambers, a governance platform on Christian Nation FM. We've been talking to Honorable Wynter Kabimba, President of the Economic Front. This has been your presenter, Mabin Augustine Katunguru, on behalf of Frank Chakanga and Jeff Chanda. Bye-bye. Until next time when we come back next Thursday with yet another exciting edition of The Chambers. Bye for now.